We saw these two battle it out before. In summer, Venomcrest took the trophy away from Ruddy on Game 5 with that Vayne top on Ruddy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think things are the same but different because now different teams, Venomcrest stepping in with rookies. Obviously, they have a different look at the roster, completely different. But Elijah bringing in the experience. On the other side, Ruddy with the most experienced roster we've ever seen them with. We just saw Perks demolish everyone with the Aurora. You have Yanko's leader, even though we got that sentence of haha will be the second best mid laner of the entire split. You know, when we look into these two teams, it's kind of like it's not even fair. But when you look into the paper, both of them are sitting with the same score against the same teams. So it all comes down to this.
That was a lovely way of phrasing it. I appreciate the symmetry. The problem is you've also got to remember that there was a little bit of a roster swap for the Ruddy sack, and then we've seen them with the full roster, and it's looked very, very scary. They came in as one of our favorites to win the whole thing. And I think the thing is, there is something to say, like, the personnel may change, but the organizational rivalry remains. How many times has Ruddy run the regular season, had wonderful runs into playoffs, and then fallen short at the very last step? And that kind of scenarios happen with Ruddy a bit, and it's often been at the hands of Venomcrest. They've been the ones to put the knife in the back more than once. It's been very frustrating for the Ruddy sack, of course, before that Ruddy Esports, before that collaboration began. And I think today Ruddy would love to just get that one back over, a little bit of vengeance for summer last year, and I think understandably they are coming in as favorites. They look pretty imperious earlier today.
They did, but I gotta say the same about Venomcrest. You gotta remember that both of the teams today have already had their, so to say, easier matchups, at least on paper. So right now is where it actually matters for both of them. We saw a lot of interesting ideas from Venomcrest today. We saw them being coming into a game with a very, I don't want to say innovative, because like we've seen all those champions already that they brought in the previous game into their draft, but like the way that they were piloting them was definitely interesting to look at. And at the same time, for the Ruddy, they were having such a stomp today in game number 1. So if I were to just look at them at their current state and say who is having the upper hand to win, I would actually not name anybody, because both of them definitely have to be on a little bit of a high from their previous victories today. So I don't know who's having it better.
Interesting, because me and Initialize, as soon as he said that, we both felt like, pause.
Yeah, that's a bold call. But the thing is, if you turn out to be right, I'm there with you.
I love it.
I'm going to disagree a little in the sense, I just think the raw laning edge that Ruddy has shown in terms of like the CS and stuff they're coming out of lane with is going to be very difficult to manage. And again, we're not necessarily expecting the absolute madness of the level 1 to happen again. That obviously gave Ruddy Sack a significant boost, and that will warp things a little bit. But I am going to need to see from Venomcrest a lot of these rookies step up and match the laning prowess here, because they come out of lane 1,000, 2,000 gold behind. How many times have we seen this at international tournaments in the West versus the East? You know, the Korean and LPL teams come out and you're just like, hang on, why, despite having 5 kills, are we down 500 gold? And a lot of that's just off those laning stats. And there are members of Ruddy Sack that can absolutely do that. The Kalista ban against Maoki makes sense. The Draven ban against Hums makes sense. We've seen those guys pop off on those champions already. Draft's beginning. Let's see what comes out of it.
I agree with you about the individual strength on the lanes being the case, the thing rather that might help Ruddy get on top of Venomcrest without too much of an effort, just because, like, again, if you look at those nameplates, you can see how much individual experience there is behind each of them on Ruddy's side. I need to see though what's going to come out of the draft, because I really loved Venomcrest's previous draft, and I loved how Kiki was piloting that Ivern, so I'm definitely expecting a lot from Kiki and from their bot lane, because Maoki was also very interesting to watch there.
Now, we also have to take in consideration that Lottie probably needs to calm down on this one. It's not always about engaging, so maybe, I don't know. You can't define the game both ways. Well, we'll
It's in
have
the
to wait
name.
and see. Corky is removed, and somehow
Skarner's up?
Skarner is allowed again
it's
for
game
Jankos.
over! Papa Jankos on Skarner! What could possibly go wrong?
Why? Why are you
If-
even delaying? You know you want it. You know you want it.
Okay, well, look, the honest answer here is if you are willing to give the Skarner up in order to bat the Aurora away in order to get Hums off those two champions that he's so very comfortable on in the Draven and the Corki, you need to have an answer. You need to be able to justify this. What do you have to make the Skarner's life difficult? The Kiki went on to the Ivern earlier today. It is a very weird jungle champion in general. There's nothing quite like it. Adding in the Varus, the Chains of Corruption, gives you a little bit more pick to go with it, but the response from Ruddy Zach was rapid. You locked in the Rumble, you've locked in the Yone. Skarner presses R and holds 3 people in place for the double ult of the solo laners to land for free.
Are we picking more immobile champions into that? Because if that Syndra happens, I would love way much more than, because we already have Varus, who is going to be very afraid for his life whenever his flash is not available to him. Because the moment anybody in Ruddy Sack presses their R button, everybody else can literally just follow up with the same gesture on their side, and that's going to be a very deadly combo in a fight.
You have the range, you have the sustain, you have everything that you need, but on the other side, it's just looking scary. And the thing is, they're not even delaying a second as soon as they're allowed to pick their champion. They know what they want. The game plan is there. Venomcrest is adapting. There's a difference. This is scary. Ezreal removed, so they're trying to pinch on the AD carry position, but Hums, we know he can play anything at all. So comfortable for now for Ruddy. What do you pinch coming in from Ruddy? Are you going for the supports? Are you go for the top laners? What's in the plan, Yamato?
I understand the thought process here from Venomcrest nonetheless. That's now 4 bans towards Hums because he is the least experienced player at a pro level here. At least on the side of Ruddy Sack.
That's saying a lot.
And again, but then you look at the other side, and you got some of the most experienced players in the world, right? We keep bringing it up because it's true. There's MSI champions on that team. That's nuts. That's always going to be a big hurdle to try and overcome, just purely in terms of that experience threshold. And it's not like these players are playing poorly either. But I understand the attack process there. I also want to note that while you've got a significantly dangerous combo from Ruddy Sack there, the lockdown into the big AoE ultimates from the solo laners, I think that theoretically the Ivern is more defenses than people think. Jace is up and available. You can go tank Jace here, and that's always been really, really potent right now. But I will say, to go back to it a little bit as we were chatting about it, the Ivern shields, the redemptions, the support items, the Daisy in front, might be more survivability than I think sometimes people give it credit for.
Ooh, we're going full
Okay, the wombo's
with
there.
the wombo combo.
Oh, another ult to punish the Rel Skarner combo. Okay. Lori.
No, he's
No, it has
joking.
To be Brom. It has to be Brom. Into me's
He's
fortune.
joking.
Come on. But
The
If
Lulu
he just
was
goes
a
to Alistair
joke
here, no,
because
Alistair's
of the
banned. So
interview.
like,
Yeah,
you look at the
Alistair's
engaged
banned.
support options are okay. Braum should be harder for Laurie to jump into Valhalla Leroy Jenkins style on. Laurie Jenkins.
don't
you know?
underestimate the man, okay?
True. But he saw the interview. Lottie was just teasing because I said, hey, maybe play
Yeah.
Lulu and be more safe. And he was like,
Yeah.
you know, I have Lulu as a champion. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm not going to do it. So, okay, everything is on the board. We're looking at the second seed coming in from Group B. Quite important for both of them. Obviously, Ruddy, we're looking at first place. And in reality, yeah, it might be with that situation, yada, yada, I don't care. I want to look into the present and the future. The past is gone. So tell me, who's going to win this one?
Ruddy Sack's comp is significantly easier to execute. You have 2 very obvious engage buttons, and then everyone else presses R, and whoever is unfortunate enough to be caught within the Magnet Storm or the Impale dies a horrible death. They should win this. That said, I like the fact you've got good frontline and long range to try and keep away from that engage on the other side.
The thing is, there is a very big wombo combo on the side of the Ruddy, but at the same time, there are some really good tools to throw in against, that wombo combo, like the Brom shield and like all the healing and shielding from the Ivern. But I gotta agree with Sam here. It's just so easy for Ruddy to just press buttons and sit back and watch everybody else die.
It's time to do it. Well, Venomcrest might pull another whoopsie against Ruddy and take that from them the second seeds. But you have to look into Ruddy and understand that their laning phase is probably one of the scariest things we've ever seen in League of Legends. So without further ado, hey, Duckling Jamada is going to take this one. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Ashram, and welcome over here to the caster desk. As you can see, by the lack of fans in the background, Jamada and I are in the empty hat here today to bring you one of UK's most legendary rivalries. Forget all about your North London derbies, your Merseyside derbies, your M69 derbies, or whatever derby your local team plays in. This is when push comes to shove. These two teams going head-to-head last year created what the Ruddy themselves describe as the ultimate grudge match. This is a serious game. Both of these teams played in the last NLC final, a 3-2 victory for Venomcrest. A repeat and a chance for revenge slipped through Ruddy's fingers in the Aurora Cup as they yet again lost it out in a thrilling 5-game series, 3-2 to Venomcrest. Will they get their revenge here today? Well, they are certainly favorites as the Ruddy want to get revenge and want to lock that second seed in Group B.
Very ideal to get that one going. Of course, Group A not fully decided, right? So with the tiebreakers still in the offing, this matchup could mean a lot in terms of the seeding, but I'm sure it means a lot, especially to the organizations as a whole. Two different iterations, of course, from 2024. Very drastic iterations from 2024.
One thing, though,
select
does remain right, Jamada. I think Ruddy favorites as well in the NLC finals, favorites as well in the Aurora Cup semi-final where these two teams met. The nameplates might be different, but the role of favorite stays all the same. Yet somehow, the result always seems to go Venomcrest's way.
See if fortune can favor the side of Ruddy today. Like you mentioned, it always seems to go Venomcrest's way whenever these two teams meet. I mean, I think they've gotten off to a okay start picking up the Skarner. I think a lot of people, and the discussion on the desk, very centered around that champion. As far as I know, not sure it's even still gone through yet in the LPL. It has just had a 100% ban presence.
I mean, it is crazy broken, and Yanko's probably one of the best junglers in the league, if not the best jungler in the league. I think, though, the clear strategy for Venomcrest, right, is to unsettle Hums and try and play through the rookie, snowball a lead from there, and let's see what happens then, right? I can see their idea, but leaving open Skarner, it's a hard argument to come out on the winning end of.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they've gone for the Ivern, right, in response. And Ivern has been, you know, I suppose to some been seen as maybe the only jungler that can really answer him. Most of it just comes from, you know, shielding, redemption, the general scaling of Ivern, and kind of the play pattern of Skarner coming through the wall. It makes you a very easy target for the root caller CC. There are plenty of things that Ivern does really well that can definitely hamper the play pattern of Skarner. We'll see how the matchup 1-to-1 transpires as Laurie's looking for an early roam over to the mid lane, and it might actually be completely unknown to Ruddy.
Yeah, I mean, Lofty does kind of mess up a bit with the Q, getting a minion instead of getting more poke on Leader, but this is still a, you know, fine little trade he's getting himself into here, unless Leader responds back well. Good damage, actually, from the Ruddy mid laner as they're, you know, brawling it out already in the mid lane. Again, what does the second seed really mean, Jamada? Well, the answer is quite clear. You avoid Nord. The loser of this game will play Nord in the first match of the playoffs, while the second seed, we don't know who they'll play yet. It depends on the tiebreakers that will be played tomorrow, but you avoid both Nord and Lost Retonus. Lost Retonus will play against DMG, but you avoid Nord, and that is still a hugely important heading into playoffs.
Does feel like a relatively big gap between the top two teams in Group A, Bulldog, Nightside, and Verdant.
Yeah, good little trade there from Leader yet again. Really pressuring out Lofty, who is struggling a bit in this matchup so far. Both low on HP and mana, but Ice on bot lane has... I mean, the cleanse has been forced out from Hums. That's a small little cooldown to play around, but unable to force the flash as Laurie, rather, did use his own to try and get something from it.
Yeah, I was doing an iron because I thought that maybe Jankos had a dive option here on the top side towards Elijah, but just going to take the reset, get his tier, get a longsword, TP back to base, or to lane rather, allow himself to be a victim, and Jankos doesn't waste too much time at all. Goes straight back down to the bottom side for the rotations. So quiet early game so far. Nothing big blown as of yet. I think goes about as you'd probably want if you're Venomcrest, to be honest, in these opening jungle clears. Again, when you've got something like Hwei, you've got Braum, you've got Ivern, obviously, as well. So much utility. The more stable an early game you have, certainly the better. But again, just thinking about the amount of wombo combo on offer for Ruddy Sack, it just takes one team fight. And all of these carries here, immobile. Very, very immobile. And if too many get caught in, you know, a Rel Gravity Well, or something like the Skarner roll actually finds multiple people at the same time, teamfight just immediately blows up in your face, and there's no real answer to have if carries are caught in the crossfire. So Venomcrest positioning has to be key, flashes have to be respected. And more importantly, I think they've just got to keep their distance, right? Between Hwei and between Varus, who's got the Comet, which indicates to us that between that and the tier pickup early on, he's going to be going the poke variation. Has to just keep his distance. He has to make sure that he's over his life too
a bit too far
easily.
forward here. Doesn't have the flash, remember, after the trade earlier on the bot lane. Humsto, no cleanse. If the CC comes through, it could be the first, but forced to flash out. And times it nicely to get out to safety, as, you know, instead Mauki turns his attention on towards hustling and gets a decent trade in, but no first blood yet to be traded. And the desk discussed the difference in laning skill, and just look at the goal lead that has already built up simply by CSing better on the side here of Ruddy Sack.
Yeah, maybe run around 100 gold ahead. Perks.
Oh, Elijah looking for the solo kill on Perks, and he will find it for first blood. The rookie of the split stepping up when it matters most, as Jankos will trade it back. I mean, will he give the kill over to Perks? No, Jankos will claim it in the end. Did get damage down on the W, but still feats of strength and a Drake on top of it. Venomcrest happy with that.
Honestly, man, just well played to Perks. You know, I feel like he's come into the league and he just wanted to allow these, you know, these Arrow players to get it on their CV. I solo kill Perks. You know, that's how it's going down right now. Just maybe overestimating / underestimating his own damage. Perks didn't quite get, I feel like, as many overheat autos, if we're talking micro, as he potentially could have once he hit that overheat. So Elijah and himself a solo kill. Blank period. Feels good for him. Kill does go back over to Perks though, so everything's still kind of equalized out as once the gold kind of the gold dust, I suppose, settles. We're still almost at a 1,000 gold lead already, just purely through laning.
You know they're right next to each other. In the end, though, they are now aware as Lofty is in a whole heap of trouble. I did not expect that much damage. Not able to walk out of it as Leader claims the kill. Great coordination there as Humsto will be a sacrificial lamb. He stepped too far forward and will also be punished for his sins. This derby certainly delivering blow for blow.
Yeah, delivering blow for blow. I like that. Kill for kill is being traded here across the map, but again, I still kind of point to the top of the screen. Gold lead has still edged out towards Ruddy Sack. It's not the end all be all at the end of the day. Gold isn't everything when it's at these kind of incremental numbers for the time being. Of course, objectives were traded evenly earlier. 6 grubs, or rather 3 grubs, for that Hextech Dragon. And we've seen the power of grubs tonight already, right? Showed off mostly by Rich Gang. And, I mean, in fairness, actually, Ruddy earlier on tonight in the 3rd game of the night. Just being able to win a fight and then pushing a tower of 6 grubs with multiple people, the difference in damage is very, very night and day.
I think that's a very good point, and it's certainly something we will be keeping our eyes on. I feel like, especially around, you know, the 12 to 20 minute mark games are often decided because whoever gets that slight lead on, if it's either the grubs or whatever it might be, will be enough to snowball into Atacana. When that first comes through, there's not much really to do for your opponents, as I don't know about you, Jamada, but my quality...
No, don't worry about it. No, it's yeah, same,
I mean, I can still
online
see the
broadcasting,
action, right?
it's fine. Yeah, you can still see the action.
We are here for the love of the game, right? I mean, that's like being put up, you know, right at the top end of Anfield, and you can barely see anything. That's exactly what we are sitting at right now. But the action will unfold regardless, and we'll do our best to describe what's happening as someone's being caught here. I think Kiki's too far forward as forced to fetch away Daisy. Playing a bit of bodyguard there, keeping his owner safe as Leader. Takes a bit of damage in return, but is able to get out to safety. And now Mauki looking to poke a bit and will just take a bit more of Leader's HP back.
worst thing in the world. They're able to escape everyone involved. Actually, we need to look at the top side, because Perks just used his ult, and he's chunked out Elijah, but...
Yeah, but I saw
If
him
we
again. Mauki, how did he find Leader? He sniped him out of nowhere, but Jankos snipes them right back in the fight. Really exploding now. Will the shields here be enough as Mauki desperately trying to kite back, but the CC is massive. Still, though, alive as Jankos forced to flash to close the gap, and now
It's got
a bit of a wet noodle fight, but this Skarner deals so much damage. He's broken as Jankos picks up the double kill.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see why Skarner is very frequently banned on this patch at the moment. 301. Jankos has been in very favorable positions, of course, but he's going to be able to pick up his heart steal pretty promptly as he's making his way to the top side now. He is being matched again by Kiki.
Yeah.
Perks.
Elijah.
Perks.
The shot blast goes wide and the solo kill won't be found. Instead, it's a delivery into the already incredibly fed Jankos. I mean, he's taking it into his own hands to carry Ruddy Sec, right?
I mean, look, I've worked with Perks before on the LEC broadcast. Lovely fella. And I'm starting to see just why. So much generosity on the Rift. Couldn't quite hand it over this time.
That's crazy.
As it was a really nice snipe from Mauki to secure leader there, but then the rundown from Jankos a little bit too much, and Skarner's ramping damage with the passive and all the rest of it. Percent HP, CC. Can't be saved. Support of Venomcrest. Kiki finds that shield.
The game certainly delivering, right? These two organizations having gone head-to-head multiple times last year. Very different strategies each in terms of how they build their rosters and the names they have on it, but Venomcrest have found their success in the NLC with going with these rookie lineups. Kiki plucked out of the French scene. Mauki, Laurie, essentially the same, right? Having played on a team together down in some local French tournament. Last time they did that, I mean, they got some names who have now won the NLC in Lenny and Theokak, so Venomcrest continuing to stick with that strategy, and so far, I mean, it's paying off, right? They are playing up against these world-class players on Ruddy Sec, but still, Perks with this, or not Perks, rather, Jankos with his big lead, now looking for 6 grubs. That would be very deciding in this game, it feels, or at the very least telling about who's in the driver's seat.
Will be indeed. If Ruddy can pick up all 3 of these grubs here, it'd feel really good. You get yourself the second feat of strength. They gave up the first blood earlier on. Like, you call out Skarner a little bit too strong, positioning too good for this Ruddy Sec lineup, and they're gonna just yield. They're gonna move over to the dragon, so it looks like they'll at the very least cross map. Lofty's getting a bit of free time down here, so things are definitely swinging like a pendulum for the time. He's trying to come up here to maybe cover an entrance for Elijah, but he might just die.
He's caught out, and he's certainly going to go down. You have to feel, unless his dancing shoes are on, is it gonna be enough? Oh, the equalizer ticking, and that will barely get it over the line. They had to invest heavily, but they did find the kill in the end.
They just wanted him dead, man. three elements.
The definition of it's onside. It's onside. As soon as they saw him, everything in the kitchen sink to get that kill.
I wonder, you know, because Laurie obviously had a very death-heavy game. Number 1 for himself earlier tonight. Wonder if the comms are like, yo, he's inning again, Get him, and of course, as things fly wide, more things have to be committed, more ultimates, of course, to secure that one. But they get that tower up in the top side, first tower secured, and again, power of 6 grubs being demonstrated for us, and they're going to be able to make it down to the bottom side, cover that tower as well. Now it just makes you wonder, they're going to have a window to kind of do the same thing again. Plates will probably fall by the time they look to, as they drop off in 40 seconds time, but still an excellent usage of grubs and an excellent way to just accelerate the game. They know they're going to uptrade far more gold than Venomcrest are going to be able to get in return.
So, the game is not over yet. There are more neutral objectives to be spawning in few minutes time, so we can see who will get those feats of strength, as the first turret did go in favor of Ruddy Sec, as we saw before, but I mean, just look at the gold difference in the jungle. Jankos is genuinely at this point probably another carrier, and we'll see if that's how this fight plays out, as well as Hustlin seems to be the first target. Good amount of damage on him. He could still re-engage. Obviously, support will gladly give his life for a good fight, but instead, happy just to re-engage and get out somewhat unscathed.
Laurie is playing on the edge. Like you say, though, chunk out onto Hustlin means he's going to have to make a reset. There's no objective to fight over. Teams just scuffling over vision around the side of the map. This is where the two, I beg your pardon, tier 1s are up for Ruddy to take. Again, just more vision being denied here from Venomcrest, so it's actually a pretty big strip of darkness down here for Ruddy. They're not really willing to push forward for the time being, though Hamza was definitely, Jankos rather, was looking for Lofty, spotted out by that blue one.
And Lofty utilizing the vision well there to stay safe. But still being a bit of danger underneath this turret. Kiki has rotated him to just hover around and make sure his mid laner is safe. I think if he overextends here, Lida and the rest of the team might think there is an opportunity. Recall's coming through. One of them completed. Hustlin has come back to base as well, but Venomcrest don't make a play yet on towards Lida, who would be hard to catch as well. Fate, Shield, and Flash can certainly create some distance in a short amount of time.
Ever the slippery champion. Yone, one of the major complaints about his design as a whole.
For sure.
Is how hard he can be to lock down. And of course, Lida, we saw earlier the proficiency he has. As actually his ult was used. Just off screen as we panned away. It did blow Lofty's flash, so apologies for missing that one, but must have happened on a very quick snap. As Ruddy now just looking for more invades. Small incremental leads that they can try and secure for themselves. They'll look to secure. Push the lead further and further ahead as they're up 4K gold, basically. Just shy. And again, just using Hamza as this mid lane wave control. Misfortune on that first spike especially. Very, very, very irritating and difficult to shove off of a wave.
Yeah.
As the Varus. Even as the Fallacy, you kind of just have to sit back and let him clear it.
Yeah, you can poke him out. I mean, he's just going to heal it all back up.
He's going to heal it all back. Right, so...
And this Herald,
now on the Herald.
Decides the feats of strength. Kiki is there, so could get in and then use the smite. Might be a 50-50 about who gets those upgraded boots. It's definitely in Jankos' favor, you could say, but Kiki could get in. TP now being activated as well. A feels to be on the cards, but as the feats of strength gets secured, Lida seems to be caught out. Laurie instead, however, takes a whole heap of damage. Hustlin finds a brilliant engage as the bullet time comes through, but doesn't take down anyone. Now the re-engage coming through Perks, forced to flash, the snipe comes through from Lofty, and the shutdown gets secured. Venomcrest, the rookies, not done quite yet. Jankos locked up as well, but he'll steal Maoki away and try to turn the fight around one more time. And the captain, the leader, does just that.
Oh, Hamza!
Finds a return kill as Hums desperately tries to find more. He's unable to do so, but in the end, what I think is a 2-for-2 comes out.
Comes out in the end. Herald secured by Ruddy. What an almost to be engaged from Hustlin. Just wasn't enough follow-up. Venomcrest do enough to make the turn happen. Let's get a look at it because Herald takes a little while to go down. Venomcrest, you can see they're just in the area, but you need to keep your eyes on Hustlin, and then crucially, you need to keep your eyes on the Hui once he shows up, because those are the two big difference makers of this fight. Herald secured, right? Eye is faced towards Ruddy. Hustlin sees his angle after the equalizer goes down. Once Laurie is dead, they know there's no big peel in the way, but then the rest of the team are just a bit too far forward, or too far away rather, from Venomcrest to make ooze on that Hustlin engage. And that turnaround damage from the Hui was huge. Everyone clumped up inside of the ultimate. And very good, well-timed ultimate here from Jankos. Impale onto the ADC of Venomcrest. And for a second you think Hamza with this AoE slow from the Skarner could maybe open up, but can't quite go far enough as Leader sidesteps that QW. And now we're back out onto the map for another objective. The first two dragons were secured by Venomcrest, so this could be Soul Point picked up. It's only Cloud Soul, but I mean, movement speed in a game like this, trying to kite away from so many ultimates could be pivotal.
He's able to dash out to safety for now. You get nervous. This guy definitely can get caught out. That's for sure. Leader takes a bit of damage, and speaking of being caught out, Laurie will be targeted down here, but able to escape, jump out to safety, stand behind me, able to create the distance needed. It is Soul Point for Venomcrest in terms of tools. Many flashes were burned last fight, but Jankos looking for the flank here. Hums as well. Both sums available. That could be key. There's a few engages. Has the flashes as well to look for those opportunities, but instead, Venomcrest's eyes shift towards the mid lane as the equalizer will come through simply just to clear the wave, and what will end up likely being a free Drake here just for Ruddy. Jankos gets out over the wall as well, and they get out. Get the Drake. That's daylight robbery.
True heist. not much else to add, really. And
They get the turret as well, I mean.
And they get the turret. It's the crucial thing, really, to kind of say in response is Venomcrest don't even find a cross map anywhere. You know, there's not even really a positive to say about that. It's just taken away by Ruddy. Good job by them all around. And as I feel like for the time being, there's not really much else to talk about. I kind of want to talk about Elijah's item build here, because we've seen a lot of tank Jace across the world. And at the very least, when I've witnessed it played so far, I was going to say in the West, but it's only really been the NLC, of course, and major regions. Still got another couple of days for LTA North and South, respectively, to kick off. We've been seeing a lot more, instead of that full tank Jace, right, we've actually started to see an evolution of Bruiser Jace, where you get the Shojin, and that kind of works as your pseudo damage item, Maoki.
Maoki. Yank is now coming from the flank as well. This could be bad for Venomcrest as they've caught out the carries and they will punish them. Hamza unloading the bullet time and Maoki's dead. Lori's next up on the menu.
Hold on.
Taken down, but the lofty damage is absolutely unbelievable. He finds one in return and somehow that fight ends up going okay for Venomcrest, but Ruddy clearly the winners in that one.
Okay, there's something emerging here despite the gold discrepancy. And that's that Ruddy if they're worth their salt, they need to swap their priorities over to making sure that they find Lofty in those combos, because you're seeing, right, the death wall composition that is Ruddy wants to, pile in, get on top of, as many carries with their ultimates and AoE abilities as possible. If Lofty isn't in the middle of that, look at the return damage available, right? That was just E, ult, and I mean, it wasn't even the claw E, mind you. It was just the, the rumble floor and the ultimate. That didn't even get to proc fully because he died, right? He died early, so it exploded. That's scary. That's something that Ruddy have to keep their eyes on, because that can certainly turn what could be, a 3 kills to maybe 1 death exchange to straight up a 3 for 3, right? So Lofty has to be involved in that mixer if Ruddy want to have more successsul fights.
Yeah. Lofty and his mages has been very good so far. There was a lot of excitement about him as he got his chance in the NLC, having won the Swedish League just last split. I asked around some Swedish colleagues of ours who cast that scene, and what I was told was that he was absolutely top tier for the league. He was, destroying everyone, by far the best mid laner. He was one to look out for and really be excited for, and I think the games today, right? Remember his Seraph game earlier, absolutely flawless, and so far on this way, showing us value yet again. Another Venomcrest rookie seeming ready to jump into the spotlight and really take off.
Doing his bit to fight for this second seed here. Still 4,000 gold down, but as we were just highlighting, possibilities for team fights to go awry for Ruddy are high. Target selection has to be on point.
It really
has to
be.
Pinpoint. They have to find Lofty.
And again, go on, Shimano.
I was going to say, finding Kiki, finding Maoki isn't going to be enough. It genuinely has to be 3 or more.
Yeah.
One of them has to be Lofty.
Eyes on him as the fights will be playing out later on in the game, as with now more neutral objectives out on the field. Lori almost caught out again, able to jump to safety, as he is still caught out, it seems, and I am pretty sure he will be going down here. There is no way out as Perks claims to kill TP, and that's Lofty, who's all of a sudden in no man's land, forced to flash away early on. Good return damage, and without the ultimate, he absolutely explodes Hoslin into a million little pieces. But with leader pushing in the mid lane, it's certainly a win for Ruddy in the grand scheme of things.
Yes, still a bit of a win here, especially if he's able to get this tower and then ult out maybe. No, Q3, doesn't even need it. Won't get the tower though, as the Atacon is still being taken down, and the rest of the posturing from Ruddy is just to kind of feign that they're even on it. I think they will now get a little bit of a look with the Daisy, and they'll just peel away. But it's not worth the flip for the time being. As leader continues to pressure that tier 2.
Does get it.
And he does get it. That was Yankos, very cheeky.
Yeah.
He missed it on the side of the screen. Tried to get that impale over the wall, but didn't quite find it.
Yeah, I mean, trying to pull out the rainbow flick, right? Showing off that the old man still got it. He's certainly shown that this split. There is no doubt about that. He's been very good on this Ruddy roster, who have looked, phenomenal as well outside of the game, while they had to play with a substitute. And Yamato Cannon came in instead. Lori caught out again, you have to think, as this time, yet again, able to jump out. Leader looking for something. But doesn't quite find it initially. Maybe though, Elijah. could be, interested in taking the fight here instead. Decides to run out. Lofty not in the area, no flash on him. That's a big cooldown to keep your eyes on as Huslin wants this fight and forces the flash out of Maoki initially. Good trade damage back on the Ruddy Sack support as leader. He finds 2, but he's the one who goes down instead. Elijah simply too tanky as... I mean, this was a fight that Ruddy Sack chose, but they're the ones who loses it.
Yeah, I'm just not super sold on this engage here. Laurie has the shielding of Kiki in his pocket. But now Lofty's here, and they're still at a 4v5 disadvantage, Ruddy. So Venomcrest can definitely look to step forward a little bit, though they're lacking some ultimates. They have Lofties.
Yeah, Elijah's TPing in, and look at the damage from Lofty. Yankers. I kind of want to say the carry is solo and should be taken down. The fail, flash, and a massive shutdown on towards Elijah. But the key prize, though, is that soul point here for Venomcrest. They'll claim it without any contest from Ruddy Sack. Yes, Venomcrest, 4k down, continue to find the fights.
Yeah, bit of a misstep there from Ruddy. I mean, they're just not really willing to give over soul point, right? You can see in the posturing. Hustlin's solo level, right? His death timer is going to be very short, but again, just too far forward. Too far forward too soon. And crucially, the play before that as well. I'm unsure if we'll end up getting a replay, but the fact that Hustling uses his flash on that play and it's not for Lofty, I think is a big error. I think it's a big error for the game state. And how things could transpire now that the Baron is on the map. And we kind of return to pseudo wave clear on the side and lane assignments for the next couple of minutes as teams try to figure out when and where they can actually look at windows to try and start up this Baron or that.
And the tension is rising. This grudge match is certainly delivering. More at stake than simply just that second place. Summer Finals, NLC 2024, Venomcrest versus Ruddy Sack. Venomcrest, the heavy underdog, won 3-2 in a grueling best of 5. Aurora Cup, NLC 2024, semi-final. Venomcrest versus Ruddy. Game 5, Venomcrest, the underdogs. And they end up winning. Yet again, though, they find themselves in such a familiar position against a familiar foe. This time, though, with much bigger names. And while the goal lead is in Ruddy Sack's favor, this game is far from over as Jankers might have been caught out too far forward here yet again. Baron is up, Arakan is up. If he goes down here, it could be disaster. Laurie, though, able to flash out of the re-engage, you can kind of call it, from Yankers as he was looking to drag someone back into his team with him. Only found Laurie, and they didn't have the damage to take him down.
Ron very tanky and of course has Ivor in his back pocket. Maybe this is the solution, right? Take him off an engage champ. Take Laurie, or put Laurie onto a champion that, you know, I forget the exact numbers of Rom Shield and exactly how much damage it reduces in that direction. It's 50%, as I just look in the in-game for the level it's at right now. So between that and Ivern shields, Laurie can be safe. He can actually not die with these phase checks. That's what Venomcrest have figured out the secret source is. Given Laurie definitely having a bit of a rough day, as I poke fun, but
yeah,
it's still going to be a very important part of how Venomcrest end up potentially winning some skirmishes or team fights as this game goes further and further in, just by being a body right in front of some of these abilities. Try and prevent his carries from dropping.
Yeah, he's certainly a team player, there is no doubt about it. A bit like Healy saying, doesn't fear his death toll going up or his KDA looking bad. If he does it for the good of his team, you can obviously say sometimes maybe he's a bit too overeager to put his body on the line, but you know, as a support, I'll never complain about someone willing to take a bullet for me, and Laurie will definitely do that for his team if it means just saving one of his teammates.
Absolutely he will. Showing that now is Ruddy Sack definitely want to start this Atacon up, and they will. And the positioning from Venomcrest is all going to come from this bottom side of the river,
dropping.
so
I mean,
it's dropping low.
There is no 3-item spike on Lofty. He has
gone,
the 2 meters in large rod. And I think, yeah, I should say, it's gone. Kiki can't get in the pit. And now the withdrawals are available as well. This could be a huge fight for Ruddy Sack as Kiki is the first target. He should go down with the soul unbound, and so he does. Lofty next on the menu as the equalizer is ticking through. The last slither of HP on him. He's caught out. No. And as he misses pretty much everything, he's set to go down as well. Baron on the cards now for Ruddy Sack. And that is a monumental fight in this dojo.
Yep, no one drops on the side of Ruddy Sack. Not even a withdraw. And that's Kiki and Lofty there, the two critical components for Venomcrest, and the Baron is now going to be started up.
There is decent poke on this Venomcrest lineup, but I don't think they can get anything. Have to maybe retreat to their bases, try and get a few turrets here, get something on the map. But the problem is, for the next 2.5 minutes, you'll be under an incredible amount of pressure from this Ruddy Sack lineup. Desperate to get that second seed, desperate for revenge, as his organization have so often fell short. But it went to the games against Venomcrest. So much on the line here, as that fight feels like it could decide the tides of this game.
Absolutely, it can. That's can't take him very quickly, and look at Leader, how quickly he goes towards Kiki, knows that if he can kill the shield giver, then the rest of the team is going to be significantly squishy up. Switches targets over to Lofty, but doesn't quite have enough time in the tank to lock him fully down. Equalizer a little bit short on damage, and I'm actually surprised the ultimate hit. It also looked like the ult from Lofty missed too, but does connect as, here you go, Jankos hustling, looking for plays.
Yeah, can't afford to be caught out here, right? We'll keep our eyes on the target, but Jankos knows exactly who to target there. Massive, massive pick. 44 seconds without the shield. 3 item spike now from Lofty, but he's not level 16 yet. Baron up, withdrawal up. This is a Ruddy Sack lineup ready to go for the win here. You have to feel just 30 minutes in. They got the one fight in their favor, and they will be clinical once they have that lead. Oh, what can Venomcrest do? The rookies. Backs against the wall, will have to find something, but the withdrawals, still so much time on them. I mean, what can they really do? Lofty's called out and he's taken down. Leader still alive, not even withdrawn quite yet. Maoki doesn't have the damage. Elijah doesn't have the damage. The Nexus target turrets are in their sight as the withdrawals now coming through. The cooldown on them might run out in a few seconds, and maybe it's something Venomcrest can play around. But look at that engage from Hustlin. Maoki, Lori down, and blink and you'll miss it. Ruddy Sack get their revenge, get the second seed, and they will show up here in day number 2. What a brilliant performance here today as they win the grudge match and they get that revenge.
Curse officially broken by Ruddy Sack. And I mean, like you allured to, it's been a very big grudge match for the last 12 months, almost more, and it comes down to leading 2 world champions. Or well, you know, MSI, if you want to call it, you know how it goes. So look, what I'm saying is that's what it took to take down Venomcrest. Jokes aside, feels good to be Ruddy Sack, right? Lock in that second seed. Yes, you don't quite know who you're playing against in the next portion of the NLC, but of course it means completely avoid tiebreakers, no tiebreaker scenario, which I think was never on the cards for them anyway. But of course, second seed means no Nord matchup, crucially, right? No potential Nord matchup, and now you get to just very peacefully wait to see how those tiebreakers from Group A unfold.
Yeah, no underestimating how big of a game that was in terms of both the standings and getting that sweet old revenge. This Ruddy Sack lineup really scaling in to the seeding stage, you could say, right? A slow start with that substitution in game 1, but after that, they've looked great, and closing the game out so quickly after just that one big fight, that is a sign of things to come. I'm excited for this lineup. They're looking in shape, and I think there's one thing that has been learned as well. Just ban Skarner against Jankos, man. He cannot be allowed to have it.
No. Not against Jankos.
Just ban it.
Just ban it, right? Let's not even cross wires. Just make sure it's never up. We saw why Jankos didn't even necessarily have a phenomenal game in terms of like how he actually played, right? That is just the baseline impact of having Skarner on the map. Keep it banned on red side. Don't let it go through. It's not worth it unless you are quite literally an Ivern team. Like the Ivern guy. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
I think those are good points. So, just to round out here from the casting desk today, before we send on to the analyst desk, this does mean that Ruddy Sack get the second seed. We don't know who they play against yet. Will be decided tomorrow. And Venomcrest, the team full of rookies and the defending champions, will be playing up against Nord in the first round of the playoffs. More about that and more about all the matchups we now know in the post-game show with Ashram and the boys.
The boys.
Solari, you're part of the boys.
I'm sorry. You've got to talk with George about whether you get inducted into that. Like that's her call. We don't get to make that choice.
Yeah. In 2022, she was baptized one of the boys.
It's true. So, if you want to be joining this illustrious club, Trouble's the one you need to have
Maybe there's a way, Solari. And you know what, Solari? The curse is broken! Venomcrest lost versus Ruddy. I mean, it took a long time and a lot of things, but regardless, it was a tight game. I know towards the end it was mostly Ruddy, And I know throughout the entire game, Ruddy wanted a few things and they got it. Regardless of how they got it, they were able to get it. They knew the plan. They were ready. But it was an interesting game nonetheless. And I want to break it down if possible and start from the beginning.
Yeah, because it started off with Skarner being locked in at the very, very beginning. And things got interesting from there. Because Venomcrest said, we play Ivan. And Jamada actually did a really good job on cast about saying why that's potentially a good thing. You can see where he's coming through walls, you can root caller it, you can manage the Skarner engages by using your shields, and you've got a Braum as well, and you've got all these heals, and Daisy can get in the way, and you've got options. And they got a lead, did Ruddy, with this Skarner, but then the Ivan started getting online, and despite a significant gold lead, despite some good macro moves, it did become surprisingly competitive, and you did begin to wonder, well, if Lofty stays alive, well, if Kiki stays alive, how far can Venomcrest push this? Wasn't quite enough, but a few of these replays will show that these fights weren't that easy all the time for Ruddy.
That's the thing, though. The fights have gotten very hard for Ruddy for exactly 8 minutes of the game, between the minute 20 and the minute 28. That is when it looked like that Venomcrest were actually... It looked like they were having a possibility to win this game, because the attempts of Radisak to get onto the Venomcrest and to shut them down quickly enough with their engage were not working out because of this redemption moonstone Ivan, and because Hui was so far away that nobody was able to get to him. Only after this 20 minutes fight at Atacon were they able to break through it, and once they find the way to get onto Kiki and kill him quickly enough, that's when the wave shifts again into Radisak's place.
And there's 100%. And to talk about this game a little bit further, and also to get to meet him for the first time on NLC, we have Yankos on the interview.
Hey!
Hey!
Hey! It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you there? Hey! Oh, I don't have sound. Are you muted?
Yeah, hello, sorry, my bad. I was just reviewing the game because, I mean, as you guys were saying, it got a bit too close for my taste at some point. But besides that, yeah, hello, nice to meet you, and good day.
Okay, let's talk about the real issue. Why are people allowing you to play Skarner? What is happening? What are you doing?
I mean, I'm not sure. I think there are some teams that try to play Ivan into Skarner. We saw it in LAC in the Fnatic case, in which they lost. We saw it, I think, in the past as well. And I feel like the idea is decent. It's just Skarner is very like obnoxious to play against because of the early game. But I think if you can play front to back against him, he's like any other time. But yeah, I do agree that it can be annoying to play against him. I do think you can win against it, and I really want to play against it, but my team is not allowing ourselves to play against it, so it's a bit annoying. My team sucks.
That would be a limit testing, like to play versus Skarner. I like that idea. Maybe into Fearless, maybe you'll get that opportunity. But tell me something.
Hope so.
3-1, and instantly you were VOD reviewing this. It's not the start that you wanted, but it's also kind of spicy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, let's just... Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, okay, basically we played first game with Yamato, right? So, like, with all respect to Yamato, I do think it made our team, like, be a bit out of the rhythm in a way. And I also think that the team that won against us was the best team we played out of the 4 teams we played so far. Or 3 teams we played so far, right? So, 4 teams? 4 teams. So I think it was interesting to lose, and I think we can keep on improving a little bit, right? Like, I think there's a lot of things we are not very good at, and today, for example, I feel like our team communication was sometimes felt rushed and excited, when normally, in my experience, it should be calm and collected in like real games. So it's good that we are like seeing these things now, and we can try to improve on them early on.
I love that you're talking about that subject, because I want to get a little bit deeper in understanding how is it playing with Ruddy in the roster that you currently have. Obviously picking like a lot of experience from multiple perspectives and then putting them all together with Yamato as a coach. How is the ambience and how is the feeling of playing with them? Be honest.
I think it's great. I mean, I think that like I think there's a lot of ideas floating around, and I think that's like our biggest issue, that we have a lot of experience under our belt. So then, because we have so many ideas flying around, sometimes it's difficult to really be on the same page, but it's something we are trying to work on, and we don't scrim as much as you would in like a tier 1 league like LEC, for example. We don't scrim that much, right? We scrim only like two times a week or 3 times a week, 3 games. So definitely it's taking longer, and we also just started scrimming like 2 weeks ago. So I mean, there's some things that we need to work on, and I think they need to get much better if we want to win the league, if we want to win playoffs, then these things need to be like much better. I mean, much better, because if we can win with this level of play, that's not good for anyone involved. So you know, definitely we will get punished against better teams, so we just need to step up a lot.
Love it. Final one for you, Yankas. I want a hot take from you before we go into playoffs. And I know you, man. I've been a fan for a long time. I know you can give me the hottest take, so don't pull back, man.
But you need to ask me a question though, because it's okay. You want a hot take from me, but like I don't know. I don't really have I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really watch any other game besides the games we played. You know, like the games we played, I watched them because I was in them, but I didn't watch any other games. So it's like, you know,
Let me spice things for you then. There was a clip from Cadrel addressing Dominate. And hey, if you maybe took care of your team, things would be different, stuff like that. And there's a lot of Los Ratones and Nord and Ruddy, like the powerhouses, but then Rich Gang climbing as well into the top. When you look into these 4 teams, a hot take from that, like.
Okay, I mean, I think I saw the clip, I think, on my stream, and I kind of disagreed with Cadral because I felt like we, compared to Los Ratones, we didn't have like as much time as they did, especially that they already practiced for like the Red Bull tournament in December, right? So like we did lose a game, but we lost a game with the Yamato on like a solo lane. Yeah. That's, you know, and then we also like fucked up a little. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't think we are very good. Like I don't know. Like I don't think we are very good. You know, like I don't know what kind of hot take should I say, because I'm like very I'm a very realistic person. So
yeah,
as much as I don't watch other teams play, I do play our own scrims, right? And we do lose to teams or games that we shouldn't lose. And even in this game, which I think should be like really clean and really easy, it took 31 minutes because we threw a little bit, right? So yeah, I mean, there's not many. I mean, the hot take is gonna be that Ruddy's sack is gonna win NLC, and that's a hot take for me after watching this game.
To me, that's the best take. I love that. In all reality, yeah, when I saw the clip, I was like, this is friendly banter as well. Like, these guys know each other, so obviously, like, this is friendly.
Yeah, all good.
I love that take. That's the best take I could ask for. Love it. Yankas, massive pleasure to get to know you. Everybody's just saying, hey, tell them I'm a big fan, so everybody loves you over here on NLC, and welcome.
I love you guys too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely one.
I kind of know how to do it.
Hit the heart.
Oh my god.
That I was looking for a hot take, but since he's a really nice guy, I was like, I want a nice take, but a hot take, and we got it.
I could hear the PR engine spinning up on Twitter right now from the social media guys. Really like, what is this? What is our jungler saying? But I kind of get the point, right? Like, I know it's a hot take, but it's like, I think there was some real candor in that interview in saying, like, look, we should have ended that game 10 minutes ago. Why did it take
100%.
us 31 minutes? We had this massive lead. We were 6-0 on Skarner. We had 6 grubs with a Yone who was free hitting turrets. Why was it this hard for us to close out the game? We've got a lot of chefs in the kitchen in terms of how we want to play the game, and that means we're not on the page as clean as we want to be. And you could hear some of the frustration, and it was measured, it was understandable, but I think it was a realistic take. Actually, for one of the teams that's supposed to be one of the big teams in the league, they're winning off raw skill and baseline more than coordination.
Yeah, I mean, when you have so many chefs in the kitchen, somebody also needs to like prep the ingredients, right? And I feel like that is the thing that they're kind of missing. And that's why we're seeing a little bit from those scrappy fights from them, especially around the mid game. Because usually in the games that they win, they manage to find their footing back into the game around the Atacon time. But before that and after the laning phase, this is where things could get better.
I love that a lot of these experienced players are bringing the same subject that Vizichachi got hit with. The idea that you have so much experience within a team, and a lot of voices. But that doesn't mean that the calls are bad. It just means that there's a lot of different perspective towards the calls. And while one call may be right, the other one may be right as well. But that little delay is not pulling the team towards the same. You're rowing a boat, but everybody's rowing to a different point, and everybody's right. But everybody needs to go for the same side if you want to pull that boat
Archan,
towards like victory. Yes, what happened?
can we roll to this damage? Are you saying what I'm saying?
I am, but guide me.
I am seeing the potential win con that unfortunately was lost for Venomcrest right there. Especially I'm looking at this Hui and this Varus because, again, at that point in time where the game was in their hands, that is exactly what they were playing around. Not just Kiki's being, Kiki without the S in the end. But it's also that range from Hui and the amount of damage he was able to deal, especially to this Kanebe, who was such a menace with his 3 tanky items to his pockets, but all the burn coming in from Hui and all that long-range poke damage coming in from Varus were such a menace to deal with for the Ruddy side.
And again, some of those numbers are a little inflated. You've got triple poke. Yes, it was a kind of bruiser fighter Jace, not a straight fighter tank Jace. But you've also got the Hui, who was poke. You've got the Varus, who built poke. Those numbers do get inflated, but Solari is right. There was a win con there. We saw it in the game. You heard Jankos talking about actually how it got a little bit closer than it should have been. There was a frustration there. And part of that was the damage numbers weren't as clean from Ruddy as you like, because they were jumping on single targets like the Braum and only getting half the HP, or fumbling some of the ultimate engages, being a little bit too excitable in comms and not cool and collected enough. And it does show in there in the numbers, even if you have to unpick them a bit.
I agree 100%. Well, let's look into today's results. And afterwards, we get to see the real good thing. DMG lost versus Rich Gang, allowing Rich Gang to climb into the top. Venomcrest did the same versus Chaos. Ruddy stepped in and defeated DMG. Not a good day for DMG. And Rich Gang had a perfect day. Ruddy finally got the revenge versus Venomcrest from the previous year. And they get themselves a nice spot for playoffs. What does this mean? Well, let's look into the standings. Dun, dun, dun. And there you go. Rich Gang in first place with 4-0. Ruddy behind them with a 3-1. Only one loss. Yamato played. I'm so sorry, Yamato. We love you. I'm just saying, it's just stats. Venomcrest in third place, and then at the bottom, DMG with 1-3, and Chaos still searching for their first victory. Complicated, yes, it is, but what about
we've got a mirror table. If it's with the 4-0 versus the 0-4, 1-3 versus 3-1, it all mirrors nicely with all of our teams split apart that way. I think our top 2 teams are clearly our top 2 teams. I think, unfortunately, DMG and Chaos are probably that step below Venomcrest, pretty obviously. And I'll be interested to see what playoffs will do for some of these teams. But we know who we are expecting to have a better run through playoffs, and I think this is our entire seeding stage. Only 2 weeks, but all of our teams have now played off at least that best of 1 round robin, and I think we're getting an idea, at least going into what is a rapid playoff stage, where our teams are right now.
But before we hit playoffs, we have to know what happened with Group A. Obviously, they were not able to get the seeding done in 2 days, so we need another one. Tomorrow, we will be here. We'll start off with Bulldogs versus LLS, and then LLS versus Verdant, and then Bulldogs versus Verdant. We'll get the tiebreaker. We start at 18 Central European time, and we hope to be done. I don't know. I just want to watch good League of Legends and Skarner bend away.
Yes.
That's all I ask for my life. You know what I ask as well? I'm being unfair. I have one more thing to ask.
Pantheon?
2 things to ask.
Gosh, what's the third one?
What do you mean, third one? There's a third one. What I want from you is to head on to Twitter and participate on the giveaway from Arozzi. All you need to do is follow NLC, follow Arozzi, retweet that post, and then get one of these beauties in your house because they're actually so comfortable. I'm gonna say this. I'm not being paid to do this, okay? I'm being honest. The other chat I had to stand up every single game while I was watching NLC. And even by the end of the day, I was like, my booty hurts. I don't like this. I've been sitting nonstop and I'm so comfortable. I don't know. Hey, Sam, do you like it? You still don't have it. But the reality is...
I hate you all.
Go on to Twitter, go on to Instagram, and win one of these videos. Look at them. Are we good?
I am, because I have a chair.
I'm
Oh,
debating
now
using
we're
my.
talking.
I'm looking at my bleep button so I can use it to say some ungentlemanly things to you, Archron. But I'm holding off. Another time. I'm only going to use that once to split. It's not quite yet.
You know, I'm really proud of you. And I'm proud of you as well,
Thank you.
Solari. It's always a pleasure to have both of you on the show. Production, you did a wonderful job as well.
Yeah, shout out.
And for you watching back at home, you know it. We love you very much. Welcome to the show. You're part of the family. Because without family, we would have a few movies. I think it's 10 Fast and Furious movies, but without you, it wouldn't be the same at NLC. Until then, we meet again tomorrow and keep climbing. If you can't keep climbing, use one of these shares. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm so sorry.